You exude exactly what I was talking about, why I really wanted you to teach, because enthusiasm is contagious. Knowledge is contagious. And if someone can present that in a manner with happiness and success behind it, you've got a winner.
Well, welcome to the J Lane Experience. I'm Jesse Lane, and this is literally my first podcast ever. And I have Rob Irion sitting in front of me from AAA Construction School, and he's agreed to be my guinea pig.
That's true.
My first brilliant mind on this podcast show. I wanted to start because when I watch other people's podcasts, I feel like I connect with them more as a person. I get to know their personality. I can see them interact in a conversation and with their friends, and just kind of more of a long form content versus kind of just a short video clip that's kind of heavily edited.
Okay.
So I'm excited to have you on this episode 1 of the J Lane Experience, which is a complete ripoff of the Joe Rogan Experience. Let's be real.
But it's good to be here. Thank you.
Well, I'm glad you're here. So look, I want to jump straight in versus boring our audience with Rob Irion. Why don't you start telling us your life story since you were a little baby?
No, we don't want them turning it off, please.
That is so boring.
Yes, I agree.
The way I want the J Lane Experience to be is direct value. I want this to be a value add to your life as the listener, and the people that I bring on, I feel like have the same mindset. So,
good.
Rob, how could general contractors be better in business when they first start, as well as maybe some pointers once they're maybe a couple years in? What's the experience that you've seen? We'll tell more about who you are too.
Okay.
Yeah.
The basic experience is the lack of knowing what they're getting into, because you're talking so many different facets. Number one, a business. Number two, a very volatile business, construction, which involves a lot of money if you don't do it correctly.
Very true.
Plus, you also have a very, very prominent department called the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, which is going to be looking down your throat every chance they get if you do anything wrong.
Right.
So you got to know the rules of the game. And too many people want to jump in because they see the fast money, but they don't see the severe losses.
I remember one story you told in class, which I'll explain who Rob even is in a second, if you made $70,000 one day.
Actually, it was $94,000.
$94,000.
Yep.
So was that your net profit, gross profit, or gross sales? And what was that story?
That was all cream.
Net profit for those listening.
Yes, exactly. And
so how did you do that?
Well, there was what they call the storm of the century had come through Jacksonville, Florida, and it did a lot of damage. I had a roofing company at the time. We were doing big apartment complexes. And that's another problem that people don't understand when they deal with insurances. Insurance prices are preset. You have to know what they're going to pay.
Exactly.
In this case, per square.
Right.
So I actually bid that job too low. And the insurance person told me, you need to rethink this and do a little more research. And that made me aware of the problem I'd entered. So I called a friend that I knew in the insurance business, and he got me in the right frame, which was much more than what I thought.
What project was this? Was this a commercial?
This used to be a place called the Bay Meadows Apartments in Jacksonville, Florida.
Okay.
And when the storm of the century came in, it ripped off portions of the shingles on the roof.
Right.
But they paid per square. They didn't care how you got the thing looking good, just as long as you did.
Right.
And so we found out that we did not have to actually tear everything off. We could just repair minor spots, and they paid us per square.
Interesting.
Yes, very profitable
so
too.
You got the job completed in literally a day?
Yep, one day.
Amazing.
But we had 18 roofers on the job. We had everything
Talk
pre-planned.
about workers' comp premium, right?
Yeah, which was pretty expensive, believe it or not, at that time.
I'm just going to move this in just slightly. Boom.
Okay.
Because you got a nice boomy voice, you know? So.
Okay. But the problem with it is planning.
Yes.
And it's planning your life, planning your business, and planning every day of your life. And then realizing that tomorrow, you're not going to be that person you are today. You're learning every day. Just like right now, we're learning our first podcast, and that's got to be cool.
I've realized that most people aren't willing to change because it hurts.
Yes.
Because when you go to the gym, it rips your muscles apart.
Yes.
And that's uncomfortable.
Yes, very.
So in order to change, we need to grow. And in order to grow, we need to change. And that's a big common thread that I see in people that I coach. A lot of you guys that watch, from the YouTube channel and call me and ask for my advice. And I, personal relationships as well, seeing people not willing to change. So,
Right.
So what would you see? Well, let me, I was going to go back to that first question, but let me explain who Rob even is. Rob is the owner of AAA Construction School. I met Rob probably seven to 8 years ago when I first started my general contracting company, when I wanted to get my contractor's license. Everyone knows Rob, at least here in Jacksonville, and I would imagine in the Florida, Northeast Florida area. He's, 30 years?
32 years in business, but
At AAA.
actually teaching and being in construction well beyond that.
Yeah.
But let's not go too far there.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. Okay. So what was your date of birth? No, so long story short, when I was in this guy's class the first time, you guys have more than likely seen the video where I talk about my experience getting my contractor's license twice. I actually went to your school twice. I know you have, what was the lady's name again? You're the teacher but
Gloria?
Gloria is Gloria Brewer or something. She's teaching the class now. She's an amazing lady. And I was there at the back of the class, asking all the questions again, and, had all the organized tabs, and I was showing all the other contractors. I'm like, look, I've been through this. But then I made a video about it, how to get your contractor's license. I think 50, 60, 70,000 people have watched that video.
Great.
And it's been really, and I put your link, actually, I don't know if you knew that.
Wow. No,
I was
that's good. I
think I even shouted you out in the video. People were like, how do I AAA? I'm like, put your link to your website. But the first time I walked in that class, I was 22, and everything you said went just straight over my head. It was the scariest feeling I've ever had. I had this big, hairy, audacious goal, right? and I have no idea what center line is. I have no idea what 40% additional cost on epoxy coated rebar is, and all these different things that you were saying. And so the second class, I came in and I caught about 10% of it, maybe 5, maybe 2 or 1.
Yeah, 1.5.
1.5. We'll give it that. Then the third class, by the fifth class, I started retaining 3/4 of everything you were saying.
Good.
And I think by the seventh or eighth class, I was very excited about the knowledge that I was picking up. Very excited about what you were putting down, and well, thank you for teaching me.
You're most welcome. But you got to have book knowledge as well as street knowledge.
That's true.
No,
it's true.
It takes a combination to be good.
And you got to pass that test.
Yeah, that's
and all
a
you
big
need
deal.
is a 70. Nothing
70,
more.
70's 100.
70 is a pass.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think my first time I got like a 72, like on the business and finance.
That's fine.
I passed all the time on the first time. So shout out to AAA. If you've seen my video, I had some struggles, but Rob helped me learn how to dig through the content and find things were popping out at me that, were just tables somewhere, but I knew how to find them because of your class.
That's the way to go about it.
It's the way to go. So back to my original question, what's a piece of advice or multiple pieces? You did answer with getting it's knowledge is power, but go further into what do you see a problem with someone, people that come through your class maybe, or Well,
a lot of people are afraid to do what you just exemplified. You got to accept the change.
Yeah.
You don't know it all. Okay, maybe the person talking to you doesn't know it all.
Right.
Nobody does. But the point is, you need to listen, need to verify it, see if it'll fit in your lifestyle. If this is what you really want to do in life.
Right.
A lot of people that we have come to class realize they don't want to
not what they want.
do it. They just don't want to do it.
I've seen some people like I've hired even just like, hey, look, and I'm talking to them like, yeah, I used to have my own business. I couldn't handle the paperwork.
That's it. Everything boils down to the paperwork.
Yeah.
And it's getting worse and worse every day. That's the problem.
Yeah.
And with Florida and the code changes, constant updating.
What are you seeing on some DBPR updates, some code changes? Are there anything major?
Yes, there's that revision to the code, the 2020 code coming out in December 31st has got some major revisions, especially in the roofing section, Chapter 15.
Okay.
Also in permitting.
Okay.
And one of the problems we have is...
Don't even get me started on permitting right now.
I'm not going to try not to irritate any listeners, scare them away.
Please.
But
it's good.
You got to flow with the change.
Let's spill the tea, Rob. You know what that means?
No.
It means we're going to like kind of gossip, not gossip, but just kind of talk about an uncomfortable subject, which I like, which is good.
That's true.
Because we need to hear it. Like we just said, what hurts?
True.
Change. And so, but continue.
No, the building departments are all going to the internet. Plans review, everything. And contractors aren't realizing that fast enough. That's one of the biggest problems. What?
Since COVID.
Yeah, I know. That's been dramatic.
Dramatic. I'm building a ground-up airplane hangar in Fernandina Beach Airport.
I'll bless you for that, okay?
Thank you. I receive it. And so we submitted plans months ago, before COVID, and we just got our permit last week. But at the end, they had switched their entire system digitally. So the amount of hoops, that's what life is. And life is, business is a huge part of life. Money is not everything. There's quadrants. There's health, relationships, your spiritual life, and your business, which is money. So when I say business is life, it's just a quadrant of it. But hoops are a big part of life as a whole, which means if you want to be successful in business, you need to learn how to jump through hoops, which is exactly what you trained me how to do to pass that test.
Well, life is constant change. Either you adapt to it or you fall behind.
Exactly.
And tomorrow's going to be totally different.
Totally.
And if you go up to the building department and you're not ready, they're not going to be too sympathetic.
Tough luck, Chuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So adapt to the change. And if you can't, then go back to working for somebody else.
What would you suggest for someone that started and doesn't feel like they're up to snuff on being a business owner?
It depends on how far along in the program they are. The fact of having a certified general roofing plumber, doesn't matter what license you have. It's a great insurance policy. It's better than a college degree.
Yeah.
People will hire you just to qualify the company. Yeah, you do have to perform certain, let's say, principles designed by the Department of Business and Professional Regulation, like being at the job occasionally.
What risk is associated with that qualifying?
Well, that is a twofold thing. If you're a qualifying agent, they have an out where you can make the owner of the business be what's called a financially responsible officer. This means that all the finances, if they go wrong, are that person's problem. That person, when they qualify that FRO status, they have to put up a $100,000 bond. So that protects the DBPR, theoretically the consumer. But it's a good thing, too, for you. If a person is not willing to be their own FRO, financially responsible officer, best thing for you to do is run. Get away from them.
Right.
You know, you got to man up, pony up, do all that sort of up stuff and take charge of your life, or you're not going to be a success.
To clarify, you're saying that if someone qualifying another business is not willing to be the FRO, run from them? Is that what I heard?
The owner of the business is not willing to.
Oh, okay. Not the qualifier. Okay.
No, the
I
qualifying.
heard it correctly, so I'm good. Because I just recently qualified a new business. Some of you have seen one vlog that I posted saying I'm starting a new business, and that was, I think only like 12 or 1,300 of you like watched it, but which is a good amount. Some of my videos only get like 400 or 500 views, which is still great. That's better than 100.
Yes,
but
better than 2.
I've been there. I've been 7 views. I've been on YouTube for over a decade. I have a whole other channel, and anyways, I want this to work. But
it will.
I qualified it, and I was the financially responsible officer, and I don't believe I had to put up a bond because I had a credit score above 660.
660
is the minimum that they require.
As an FRO, a qualifying agent, you really, if you own your own business, you don't need to be the FRO.
Got it.
It's just when you're working for someone else's business.
I see.
And the credit score you said is correct as far as a contractor obtaining a license. Yes.
Or qualifying an additional.
660. Then they're going to have to either have the 660 or they'll have to post a bond.
Right. Yeah, which I didn't have to do to qualify.
Good.
Additional. And also, quick tip, hot tip. A lot of you kind of know, but I got started with my building contractor's license. There's 3 levels. There's residential, there's building, and there's general.
Correct.
And a lot of people told me, Jess, don't shoot for the moon. Get your residential. If I would have done that, Rob's looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm looking at everyone else like they're nuts too, because if I wouldn't have got my building, the first permit I ever pulled was in a 6,000 square foot commercial tenant improvement, which I had no idea what I was doing. 22, walked on the job and figured everything out with the client. I'm like, so this line, this is like the line and the X, like supply return. Like, it's like, I didn't know any of it, but I figured that crap out. And now I'm one of the top like commercial GCs in Jacksonville. Where next year I'm already kind of designing and bidding on like $10 to $20 million worth of work, which is a dramatic improvement of where we were last year. But if I would have gotten residential and not thought a little bit bigger, I would have been a lot less fulfilled, a lot less successful. But also, I didn't have the experience to get my general.
Right.
And so that's maybe my quick tip is maybe start with something you can obtain, but it's a little bit uncomfortable, but not impossible.
Right.
Yeah. And then I upgraded 4 years later because the experience was credited to me because I had my building for 4 years.
That's the way to do it. That's exactly how to do it. But if you got any commercial experience under your belt or going to get it real soon, then you want to go for at least a builder. Exactly. Go for the goal. I mean, you got to reach for the stars.
What do you see these residential guys that walk into your office asking to, like, you respect them, of course, just as much. I mean, I don't know what I'm saying. I mean, like, what's your viewpoint towards the residential contractor? I mean, versus the commercial. The
problem with the majority of those people is they're limiting themselves, just as you were expressing.
Right.
And they're a little bit intimidated by the fact they're going to build a church or a synagogue or something commercial. Then they get afraid. It's too much. It's too big. But you don't know how you're going to grow. And you got to reach for the stars. As I said before, you got to go for the most you can get. And there's a good reason. The DBPR is tightening the problem up every day, making it much more restrictive to actually qualify. They're being easier on people coming from out of state than they are for people in Florida. And I don't like that attitude at all.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Because they want you to cross every T and dot every I if you're from Florida. But that doesn't happen if you're from out of state.
Interesting.
So you did right. You had the ambition, the drive. You did great. And you're doing great. So keep that up. And you ought to be a role model for everybody else.
And you know what it takes is taking risk.
Ah, yes. It's fun. Risks are fun.
Risks are fun. And to be a successful business owner, you need to be a risk taker. And sometimes I wake up and I realize that I take risk every single morning just by getting out of, not just by getting out of bed, but by getting out of bed and then saying, okay, I'm supporting all these people's families.
True.
They've been relying on me. I've had that feeling since I was 22. It's not, so for example, I want to bid a big project. That's risk. I'm paying all these people.
True.
Tens of thousands of dollars, to bid this project that I take the risk of not even ever getting.
Right.
The employee mindset will only get you so far in the world of business. And
It'll never make you rich. Never.
I remember when you stuck in my mind back in that classroom, you said, if you want something along the lines of, if you want to make wages, but wages is not money.
That's true.
I remember that statement and that stuck with me.
Yeah. But you're going to pay a price for it. It's like I had talked with you before. It's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Yeah, exactly. You got to live it, breathe it, sleep it.
I go and get a haircut. People are like, oh, you're off work? It's like 2:30. I'm like, honey, I'm never off work.
That's exactly
what I say is
never.
I own my own business, and I said I never stop. True. Right now, I'm literally thinking of this job site issue or whatever, an employee issue or a positive thing. I'm still working in my mind. I dream about it.
That's true. And no matter what it takes, you have to. Whether it's getting up at 3 a.m. or going in the middle of the night to check a job site, you got to do it.
Taking that call. So you called me. I got a random number. The reason why you're sitting in front of me today is because you called me. A 904 number. I get tons of solicitors, tons of random phone calls. I just had this urge inside of me. Pick it up. That's like the $73,000 phone call I got a couple months ago. There was a likely spam. I'm rabbit trailing for a second, but likely spam. Like everything inside of me was pick it up. I'm like, okay. I picked it up. The next morning I had $70,000 in my bank account because of that phone call.
Wow.
It was literally like the SBA loan people saying, all you need to do, Jesse, is click the green button on our website. And
I love it.
I was like, oh, I'm really glad I picked up this phone because I have $73,000.
True.
But you called me and, hello, is this Jesse Lane? And I go, can I ask who's calling? Because random number.
Correct.
You go, well, go right on ahead. I just kind of laughed. I said, okay, well, who's calling? Well, this is Rob Irion with AAA Construction School. And I've been watching your YouTube channel, and I really love everything you're doing. And I'd love to have you teach the class.
Right. That's exactly right.
And I was like, Rob, what an honor. But I'm running a business. I can barely have enough time to think for myself. And I get meal prep. I have smoothies and oat bowls and beautiful quinoa and asparagus and chicken and salmon things delivered to me. And I warm it up either on the frying pan or whatever. I eat it.
Right.
Everything's very streamlined in my life to where I can focus the maximum amount of my attention on my business.
True.
And I have 5 businesses. J Lane Construction, J Lane Properties, the Jesse Lane Consulting. Technically, also the YouTube channel is a business. And then I have, what's the 5th one? I don't even remember what that is. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I have so many things going on. I'm flipping. I have $1 million worth of real estate right now that's just sitting there. I'm closing actually on Friday on one of them.
Terrific.
Jake, shut up, man. Stop tap dancing. He tap dances when he gets excited. Those stupid little nails on my LVP flooring in my beautifully renovated condo, but I need to get him slippers. So, that the $1 million. So I have 2 homes, $500,000 plus this condo I've renovated all cash. And so I'm waiting to refinance that.
Right.
So I know some of you might be interested in real estate also. I don't know are you interested in real estate?
No, I've been there.
Okay.
I've got plenty.
What got you out? Do you have rentals?
I have rental properties, 5 rental properties, and
Single
a couple
family?
of houses here in Louisiana.
And you're from Louisiana, right?
Correct. Yes,
Do
indeed.
you live in Jacksonville?
I have a home in Jacksonville, yes.
How many homes do you have for yourself?
Well, maybe about 5 or 6.
For yourself?
Yeah.
Not rentals.
Right.
And you also have 5. So you have 10 properties.
Life's been good.
Life's been good.
Yeah, Joe Walsh. Remember him? Life's been good. You ever heard the song?
I remember Joe. He's like a singer-songwriter.
Yes, exactly.
What band is he? Has his own? I'm not a...
Don't know, but I like the song.
Yeah. So real estate is cool. I mean, eventually I'm going to get into multifamily, but what I'm saying is a lot of plate spinning, and so it's not, the 5th business was, I'll just say it, JRC. If you're this far into the podcast, Jacksonville Residential Contractors.
Wow.
That's the business I have qualified. Maybe I even already said that, but that's the name of it. That's the vlog I made with Justin, my business partner. I'll bring Justin on. I'm going to stop that whole JRC conversation right here because it's actually very fascinating. There's a nonprofit involved. There's a lot of moving parts. There's about 5 or 6 businesses that go into that feed with that, just serving for low income housing and building the community of Jacksonville and different things. So I'll have Justin on the podcast. But the real estate thing for me is kind of a side hustle, flipping these $500,000 homes. I think next year I'm going to stop doing homes and get more into multifamily.
Okay.
Investing. But so you have rentals, which is great, but what's okay, I just looked at this question. I'm going to diverge. Do you recommend young people go to college?
Absolutely, if possible.
Okay. Why?
Well, because our schools are pathetic. I see people that cannot
Did you just contradict?
No. I'm talking about grade school, high school. They're not learning.
Interesting.
I know this because I'm in front of these people. Tomorrow morning, I'll be in front of a bunch of them. And I'll have to teach them how to use a calculator, how to read a question. They just don't have it. And it's sad. There are some that do, and they move on and become very successful very quickly. But the others are a little bit lame in the area.
So the 3 R's are really vital.
Vital for, life, period.
To those of you who don't know, that's reading, writing, and arithmetic.
Yeah. But especially in construction, because number one,
it's math, it's numbers.
Math, estimating. If you don't have a good estimator, you're going to be lost as a goose in a snowstorm.
I got that test question. That's literally a test question.
Yes, it is a test question.
What's the most important person in the construction company?
It's been a test question for 30 years.
The estimator.
The estimator, absolutely.
Walker's, page 10.
If he's, say he's bad off on materials and you have to run to Home Depot to get 2 2x4s, what does it really cost you? A fortune.
$400.
Yeah. Yes. And in the meantime, the fool that's going to Home Depot runs over a kid, then you're in big trouble.
Then you got OSHA for $70,000.
Oh, my goodness. Don't even go to OSHA.
What's the maximum fine?
Right now, it's $124,000.
Minimum?
No, that's an administrative fine.
And the minimum is like $5,000 or something?
No, that's changed. That's $124,000.
What is the minimum?
Yeah, no, actually it's 124,000 is the maximum administrative. It can be altered, and the minimum is 7,000 now.
7. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So things have changed since.
But
the
they do
economy.
get up in the millions if things are really bad.
Wow.
But
How can
back
people
to-
avoid that? Go ahead. No, we'll go
No.
back to OSHA.
Yeah, back to OSHA. Know how to read OSHA. OSHA is very difficult to read and understand. Well, hire somebody that knows how to do it. Learn about it.
A safety guy.
Yeah, it's critical.
Yeah.
Take a course on it.
Right.
There are plenty of them all the time.
How many ladders do you need to get out of the trench?
That's
which
a test
distances
question.
do you need to go?
Another test
10
question.
feet this
Hope
way
you're logging
and
this
10
down.
feet that way.
Yeah, yeah,
That's exactly it. But what were you saying? What was the?
I was saying that you exude exactly what I was talking about and why I really wanted you to teach, because enthusiasm is contagious. Knowledge is contagious. And if someone can present that in a manner with happiness
Yeah.
and success behind it, you've got a winner. Okay? And these people need that. So many of them get so distressed like you were the first day, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not being a Marine Corps drill instructor. Yeah, I want to let you know this is real game we're playing here, and it's serious. And either you're going to own up to it or maybe do that wage job.
I didn't know you still taught the class. Maybe you.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I can't get away from it. I love torturing people.
It's inside. It's inside of you.
Yes.
The passion.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's in my DNA. I love it.
Is Gloria still? Would you ever have another person again teach, or is she still
yes,
teaching?
yes.
Or just helping you teach, but you still like to
I
fill in
have
half the time, or 20% of the time, or?
I have several people that help me teach, yes.
Okay.
Not just me all the time.
What
We're in
percentage do you
Orlando quite a
teach?
bit.
Okay.
We're there every 2 months on 4-day classes and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like
So-
half the time that you teach, or
Yeah, about half. I like it.
yeah, it's your zone.
It's true.
I like what I do.
Yeah.
I would not want to get up at 7 a.m. on a Saturday and a Sunday and come teach the contract. Now, I probably would meet some cool people, but I shouldn't say that. I want to help those people. I do.
You do. I know it. It's in
That's why I make
in your
these
blood.
videos.
That's why you're doing this podcast.
Yeah, it's exactly the exact reason.
I mean, you're not charging admission, are you?
No.
Okay.
If they want to talk to me, I do. It's like $500 or something like that for an hour of my time.
exactly.
Which every time someone booked a call, I just raise the price. Because and I've talked to amazing people from Australia and the United Kingdom and all
Right.
across the United States and Hawaii, and I mean all kinds of people that want to start their businesses.
Well, I teach disciplinary courses for the DBPR for the bad people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I have to teach them all about the laws and the rules, and I make them pay a pretty price for my time. You
Nice.
got to, time's money.
much?
And people also need to know that money's a tool.
Yes.
It gets you the things you want. It's not meant to be kept. Spend the darn stuff.
It's really not.
Yeah,
Savers are losers,
exactly.
like literally. What's your interest rate? 0.000000.
well, inflation, it's always a
And then
loser.
you have inflation.
Yeah,
Get into real estate, you have depreciation and depreciation, and you're a winner.
right.
Those kind of investors. How could I lose my license?
You can lose, excuse me, you have to clip that off. Do I need to clap or
I might
anything?
use it. Now we're both stuttering.
Yeah.
Let's just
No,
keep it. It's awesome.
Not following the rules, not knowing them is really the problem.
Like, what's one thing someone could, embezzling money or
No, most of the time it's not going to be that.
Have
The
you seen
vast
someone lose their
majority
license?
of the discipline courses I teach are based on a thing called scope creep. People not knowing the parameters of what they can do. I was guilty of it when I was a young contractor too. I got disciplined. And I was trying to help a little old lady. She had severe arthritis and couldn't lift her arms up. We were remodeling her bathroom. And she wanted to know if I could lower that switch because she couldn't lift her arm.
right?
And there was enough wire extension and everything else, so I did. I just moved the box down about 6 inches. And at the final inspection, the inspector looked at that thing and he said,
It's not 42 or whatever it needs to be. I
right.
don't
He
know.
said, that's not the same height it was.
Right.
And I couldn't lie, so I told the truth. You know, I did it. So I had to go before the construction trades qualifying board.
Really?
Yes. Had to pay a $500 fine. I had my license suspended, the whole 9 yards,
Oh.
because I did a good deed.
Interesting.
No good deed goes unpunished.
I'm curious why you're still, I don't know if you are, maybe, are you still practicing?
Only
June?
on my
No, just
own.
kidding.
On my
Practicing
own.
contractor.
Right now, I'm building a studio because with our continuing education
Hold on.
program.
Did you say only on your own?
Right.
What does that mean? Like just you're your only employee?
Well, I just bought another house, and I'm remodeling it for a studio to do the next series of continuing
so you hire
education.
subcontractors and you just kind of...
No, I like to do it myself.
The work?
Yes.
Really?
Yes, really.
That shocks me.
Why?
Because I see Rob Irion as this large entrepreneur kind of using
but if
OPT
you're-
and OPM, other people's time, other people's money.
If I am going to teach
That's
air conditioning
fascinating.
people about air conditioning and plumbing and all the other sub-trades,
Right.
I have to know them. I can't be some bookworm that's never actually been hands-on.
I respect that.
So I want to learn how to do it, and I have learned how to do it, and I'll continue to do it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
When I walk into your classroom, I see all those blue Florida. I mean, how many
I've been
licenses do you
licensed in
have?
all of those. Yes, I let them go because it got to be expensive to keep them all active and not use them.
Oh, okay.
But that's another thing that people do. They have a tendency to think that they want to get out of the business for a while. It's overwhelming. Don't give up your license. Go inactive. And all you have to do is pay a renewal fee every 2 years.
Right.
And you could keep it inactive for 20 years if you want.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And you
That's
don't
a hot
have to
tip.
do the continuing education or anything else. And then when you do decide that flipping burgers is not for you and you want to be a contractor, reactivate it. Go active. It's easy to do.
What is something that people seem to misunderstand about you?
The biggest thing is I guess it's some innate thing about me that I may appear a little bit too harsh or something on people. I'm just trying to let them know that you have to get motivated. This is not going to be done by osmosis. There are 48 pounds of books. There are thousands and thousands of pages, as you well know.
I know. Yeah.
And you have to go through them. You got
have
to
to go
pay
through
the
it.
dues. Everything in life's that way. You got to pay dues.
I spent the majority of the year, the first time and the second time, spending 4 nights a week for
There
hours.
you go. Mm-hmm.
It's no joke.
And then it paid off, didn't it?
It paid off dramatically.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What's your biggest failure that you have had and learned from?
I don't like anybody failing any exam or any class. We always prided ourselves past the first time, like you were mentioning.
Yeah.
And then is that sometimes it's very hard to reach people, to get what's in their mind, to understand them.
I understand that with employees. I had a situation today. Continue.
But learning how to be patient enough, giving them enough time to think the way they do, to try to
process.
find out,
Yeah.
speak their language.
Ask questions.
Yes. Get them to come out of their shell,
Yeah.
participate. And I don't remember if you remember this or not, but I would go around the room a lot. And I
Yep.
would be right next to a person and point in their book and show them where it was and stuff. Because I was trying to get them into the situation.
Right.
And if you can get them motivated and then brag a little bit about how successful you've been, and then maybe get them to achieve their goal.
Right.
And that's what I want to do.
It's more than a carrot. It's more of a golden goal on the top of a mountain that you can
Yes.
say, look, don't you want that?
Yeah. I've taught doctors, lawyers, engineers, architects, and an attorney. He said the most important sheepskin he ever got was the state of Florida general contractor sheepskin. It's better than being a lawyer. He's in
What
fact
is sheepskin?
in his office.
What does that mean?
It's just that it was the hardest test he'd ever taken,
Ah.
and it was a big achievement in his life. Passing the bar exam was easy compared to that test.
Wow.
And he does, even to this day, still have that posted above his lawyer degree.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's not an easy test. It'll test your competence, your
Yes.
cognitive abilities. It was very cognitive.
It's challenging.
You don't just go and, oh, it's open book. That's idiotic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, because there's nothing that says the answer in the book.
No.
It's literally a cryptic
True.
answer out of the words that are on the page. So I don't know one tip you have of how to motivate someone, either employee or someone in your class.
Well, spend time with the person. That's the
And
most
when do you
can
know
do.
it's worth it or not?
And try to, on the break, I'll give up my break sometimes to talk to people just to find out what's making them tick. Why are you even here? Tell me about it.
Right.
and then try to show them that this will fit in their life, but they're still going to have to pay the dues like everybody else.
Yeah.
And that's why I reinforce at 70, you're a contractor. Hundreds of waste of time.
It's still
folks.
fun to post a 92 on Facebook, though.
It's okay, because nobody can ever find your score. Little
really?
old lady asks you what you made, tell them 98, No, nobody can ever find it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's not published. It's pass or fail.
Yeah.
And 70 is
A pass.
passing. 69.999,
Is a
guess
fail.
what? You're a loser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to go back really quick to the college thing.
Yes.
Because that's the biggest question I get. Jesse, like Instagram direct messages, I get, Jesse, should I go to college?
No.
Should I go to a construction management program? Should I do this, do that? Now, I have some thoughts on this. Let's hear yours first.
Well, first off, should you go to college, just being a generic question, the answer is by all means.
That makes
You're
more
going to
sense.
learn to grow up, number one. And
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing about college you learn is that nobody cares whether you make it or not. It's you.
It's personal.
And you're going to make it or break it. It's up to you.
100% agree.
Yeah. And you can be a C student, D student, you'll get by. Heck, you can be the bottom of the class, but you're still going to be a lawyer at the bottom of the class or a brain surgeon.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you're talking about a person who is coming out of high school and not sure about college and who has some construction experience, then yes, there are lots of trades type situations, subcontractor trades plus the general builder residentials.
To start getting experience.
Right.
That's literally my only response is go get a construction experience.
True.
That's a period.
Yes.
Because it's honestly all that matters, because even when you want to go get your license, what do they look at? You technically have, is it 2 years of college degree that can count for 2 years of, or a 4-year degree?
A 4-year degree counts as 3 years. 3 years.
Out of the 4?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
it doesn't matter what the degree is in. It could be basket weaving or anything. It still counts.
Rowing. Well, I still believe strongly that construction experience for someone that wants to get into the construction world cannot really be taught in the classroom. One caveat is point number one out of 2 points is your class didn't teach me a dang thing about being a general contractor.
No.
You taught me how to pass the test.
Exactly.
Point number 2 is I spoke at UNF and I've hired people straight out, and I've interviewed a lot out of the class. Seniors, construction, management. What's a 2x4? How thick is it? What do you mean it's 2x4?
Well, it could be 3 different thicknesses.
Right, 5/8 and quarter inch and half inch. But what is? I was gonna. I'm in my mind. I'm going into drywall thicknesses because that was my next question I asked. Drywall was, how thick is it? It's 5/8 for commercial. It's half inch for residential. But there's a difference, and you can use quarter inch for a veneer, like on a ceiling or something. And they don't know the details of construction.
No, and you're talking about something that is it's a great dismay in my heart. We don't have anybody with any real experience anymore.
Yes.
That's a major, major problem.
It's unfortunate.
And the drywall man is giving you a quote. You have no clue what he's talking about. You are not going to be successful.
No.
Or the block mason.
No.
You can't even figure block.
Right.
So how are you going to succeed? You're
And that's
not.
actually, that is one thing I learned in your class.
Good. Yeah.
1.25, right?
1.125.
1.125. Yeah,
Yep.
Exactly.
Square footage times that number, you'll have the correct number of
Center
block.
line. By the way, center line means nothing in the real world.
True.
But if you want to pass the test, then center line.
But it's like learning to do anything. If you learn a perfect takeoff, you can adjust that perfect takeoff to real life situations.
True.
And that's something I find in real life
Yes.
experience that a lot of people don't understand. The cheapest job is never the best job. You need to deal with people, sub-trades that are going to do the job correctly.
Yes.
That is the fastest way through a job.
Business people, not contractors.
Yes. If they can't stay in business, don't use them.
What's the first 3 letters in contractor?
Yeah, CON. You got it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's a
But
problem.
everybody will, give you a good rug dance and everything is going to be wonderful. And then all of a sudden they say, hey, boss, well, we're about 400 2x4 short on this condo.
We didn't account for that.
Yes,
it's not
exactly.
in our bid. Mm-hmm. What do you mean it's not in your bid? And as a general contractor, I think a lot of people go under.
True.
Going back to going out of business because of people that they can't handle, or maybe they don't have deeper pockets enough to float situations like that, or know how to handle them with an emotional level.
True.
How much of business is emotions?
99%.
Interesting.
Okay. Because number one, you're dealing with such a variety of people. You have to deal with all the contractors that you're bidding against. You also have to know the subcontractors who are going to be available. Mm-hmm. You have to know suppliers. And more times than not, you're probably going to have to know a lender or two. And all of those people are speaking a different language.
Yes.
You have to be able to understand those languages.
You have to speak those languages.
Exactly. And you have to have it rock solid.
It's all about the knowledge.
That's what it all goes back to on anything.
I mean, in my shot out of my eyeballs is my books behind you.
Yes.
Those are my favorite possessions. If I had to pick a possession.
Well, what about Jake? What about Jake?
Forget Jake.
Hey, Jake, you're
just
out,
brings
dude.
me happy levels. Jake is great.
No, that's a good set of books you got.
I don't snuggle with my books.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes. But they are awesome.
Yes.
And I really don't read a whole lot because I actually retain like 10% of what I read. I retain like 40% of what I listen to.
Right.
Because my favorite author is Robert Kiyosaki. He wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And then I listened to about 8 of his other books. And then they've actually rocked my world, and I would not be the man I am today. Robert, if you want to come on my podcast, my life would then be complete.
Yep.
So he's rocked my world, rocked my mindset. I would not be the man I am today without Robert. Okay. I can literally see him holding a book. The book says why A students work for C students, and why B students work for the government.
Right. Yeah, true.
Well, I guess you already said your thoughts on that because, well, what are your thoughts on that? Break that down for me. Why do A students work for C students? And why was I, a C student, flunked out of every school, smoked pot, got kicked out of every school I went to, couldn't fit in the box they wanted me to fit in?
Well, number one, you knew what it was to be a loser. An A student rarely does. And when they finally do break loose, they go downhill pretty fast. I know I was a straight A student for a long time. But certain things enter your life, you go downhill for a while.
Yeah.
Then when I was that C student, I knew I didn't want to be that C student. I want to be me, and I want to work for me. I like me, and I know I can make some money. Yeah. And I can help other people when I do make that money. And that's what I like to do.
It's an exchange of value. That's what making money is.
True. I want to give it back. I like that. I know it sounds hokey, but that's me.
I felt like I was a loser because I couldn't fit into their box that said win on it. Because if I fit into their box, that was how I won. But I never fit in. It was memorize. I have a horrible memory. That's actually something about me. That's like a character, or it's like my brain, probably because the massive amounts of pot that I smoked.
Right, that could have something to do with it.
At a very early age.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I was 12 and I had, this is like,
underage,
therapist.
Okay.
No, but my friends were 17, 18 and I was, but my main friends were 14, 15. I always hung out with people older than me.
Right.
Always. But I would go to the 17, 18 year olds and I started smoking pot. And then I started I brought that to my 14, 15-year-old friends. I'm 12 years old.
Right.
They never smoked pot before. They smoked pot literally because of me. Just very interesting how that happened. But anyways, just lost my train of thought. I'm kidding.
That's all right. No, a C student is going to have to make a choice. Either you want to be stuck on the dusty old car lot or you want to move up.
Right.
And that decision will be made by them. But when they do walk in that classroom, I try to let everybody know they can do it.
Yeah.
It's in you.
Well, I think what Robert's saying on the A student working for C students is, because I was that C student and I have a lot of A students that work for me because they're the highly type A detailed. I believe I have to be detailed also, but in a more vast area, like going back to what we said about understanding everything, I have to be able to talk to my tax guy and my drywall guy.
Absolutely.
And the framer. look at page 1.1. Look at the coping detail. Let's call this. I have to guide, and so kind of seeing a broader level where maybe an A student would be more a fantastic employee. As far as maybe that estimator that just rocked it at arithmetic class.
Yeah, but also think about what it takes to be an A student. And it's one of the things I was trying to express earlier. Mm. You have to develop social skills. If you're just a bookworm A student, you don't get it. You're not participating in it. That's what's going to happen in college. You're going to get that social thing. That's why I hate all this COVID stuff.
It's horrible.
Yeah, everybody at home, they need to be socializing.
Right.
As people, we are social animals.
Right.
And we're going to have to deal with other people. And whether it's construction or being a doctor or anything, you have to deal with people. And if you can't get along with people, you're never going to be a success.
I want to be very clear that if you want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a physician, any type of medical field, anything that requires a degree, go to college. Please go to college.
Yes.
Please.
I agree with all of that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just think entrepreneurship is a little bit different when it comes to real world experience, and it might be a waste of 4 years. I think we have a different mindset or opinion on college. Maybe we don't, because then you were thinking my college statement was general, not
true. I was.
So we do. Do we have the same opinion? Just to nail this on the head, of should a guy who wants to be a general contractor and say he has some construction experience, should he go to college?
Yes, he should. Okay. And he should major in construction for a 4-year degree.
Interesting.
Yeah. In fact, if
so we do have a different opinion on that, actually.
Well, I want to add something here. You talk about recent changes. Mm-hmm. If you have a construction degree from an accredited college, you have a grade point average 3.0 or better, you don't have to take the technical portions of the exam.
True.
That's showing you that they're putting some faith in what they're theoretically learning in college.
Right. If I'm looking at someone's resume, this is another thought, and I see 4 years of college in the construction management program, or I see 4 years or three, whatever, of experience in working directly under a general contractor, I'll choose that person over the college guy that has maybe 1 year experience working under a general contractor.
Well,
That's a hiring question, or hiring statement versus a flip side of a GC who wants to start his own business statement, college or not. I think it's up to the person. I mean,
I know, but I would still ask them both the same question. Mm-hmm. What size is a 2x4?
I agree. It's very important.
It is, believe you me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It's the same when you're talking to a CPA or a bookkeeper.
Right. What's a 1031 exchange?
Yeah. What's the word debit mean,
Right.
You got to know the business. Exactly.
It's very disappointing where some people want to be in the business and they don't know it.
That's true.
So if it's college, if it's GC experience working for someone else, get the experience in the field.
Well, with college, at least you're going to learn to read and write and do a little bit of math.
See, I haven't said this yet, but my opinion on this is I believe in 1st to 8th grade, maybe 12th. I believe those things are vital. 1st to 8th grade is where I learned how my multiplication tables worked, my basic geography.
Great.
That was 3rd and 4th grade, and I remember learning how to spell, and I learned a little bit about science in 4th and 5th grade, and I really enjoyed it. I did great up until 6th grade. Then I started really flunking, and I kind of declined, and I started getting into bad things, but I excelled in 3rd grade, 2nd grade, 4th grade. 4th grade was a little bit rough, but 5th grade had a great teacher, and she took me before the summer, in the summer before the class started, and taught me everything about cells and Newton's law and whatever it was, all these things, and Ptolemy and just everything that's so important to life, and math and the things that I use every single day. How to use a calculator.
Right. Why
do people not know these things, Rob?
But you skip too fast over the one thing. Oh. Somebody took an interest in you. Somebody put the ambition, the desire, the drive. Somebody saw through everything.
Shout out Mrs. Barber.
Well,
Nancy.
pay her the kudos. She did a good job.
Yeah.
And that's what a teacher does.
Yeah.
And that's my most frustrating thing is not
pound
being
it,
able
'cause
to.
you're one of the best teachers I know.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're
but I
welcome.
just wish I could reach everybody. And sometimes I
Well, you're
can't.
reaching more people today.
Well, good. I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah.
Hope so.
Are we still good on lighting and everything? We got Charlie behind the cameras.
We're good.
Nice. And how long have we been going? 29 minutes.
But there's one thing.
Yes.
We need trade people. We need car mechanics.
Preach it.
Okay.
That too.
So people need to get involved with that and learn. And I'm not saying everybody needs to be a contractor at all, but someday there's going to be a honey do this somewhere in your life, and you don't want to seem too dumb when it happens.
Have you ever read The EMyth by Michael E. Gerber?
No.
He breaks it down into 3 levels.
Okay.
Level 1 is the technician.
Yeah.
Level 2 is the manager.
Mm-hmm.
And level 3 is the entrepreneur.
Right.
We need more technicians.
Mm-hmm.
We need more technicians. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that's what an entrepreneur is for, is we have the technicians to do. We need the car mechanics. We need the framers, the mechanical guys, the HVAC
Yes.
guys, the plumbers, the you know,
What I call them in
Electricians.
class. We need arms and legs, folks.
right. And I remember one thing he said, I don't remember what this was in regards to, but just, it's the contractor's job to motivate the framer's hand to swing that hammer
True.
and bang the nail into the wood
Yep.
the correct way.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So we as contractors need to understand the correct way.
Mm-hmm.
We need to hire people that know how thick a 2x4 is and can talk to the framer, or else we're not going to get any respect.
Right.
You know, I mean,
Yep.
there's a reason a 2x4 is 1.5 inches thick, you know, and 3.5 wide.
Right.
It's so
It's the same with air conditioning. If you don't know what a ton of air conditioning is, how are you going to know this person's putting in the right AC?
exactly
He may have too much or too little. In either case, you got a big problem.
right. And if you have
So-
too much CFMs in one area, or if you
Right.
can't test and balance it at the end,
Mm-hmm.
you know, if you put a 3.5 ton when it needs to be 2, then you got a big problem there too. And
A big one that's recent, fairly recent. In fact, it came out actually with the 2017 code as far as being enforced of recent occurrence. Blower door.
yeah,
I mean, what the heck is a blower door? People don't understand how it operates or anything else. How do you know that somebody's not jacking you?
right.
You know, you got to know a little bit about
Yeah.
the people you're hiring.
Exactly. What are some recent code things that, like the blower door thing, is there like any asbestos stuff? Or is there like, what are things people should know going into 2021 in Florida as a contractor?
As a contractor, they're going to have to review thoroughly. Now, it's easy to do because the code books are available right now on the internet, and we sell them all the time. The current codes.
They have to sit there and read the whole thing.
No. Here's the beauty. There's a website, floridabuilding.org. Call it up. Go to the Florida section. Pick out any of the 9 codes you want. Florida has 9 volumes. They're all called Florida Building Code, but it might be test protocols or mechanical or whatever. Whatever your trade is, find that book.
Yeah.
And as you scroll through it, you're going to see different color highlightings, which will tell you if it's a change
Updates.
or a deletion or whatever, and you can quickly learn all the changes that are going to occur. And that's the way to do it. If you're going to be proficient in your trade, if you don't know the rules, you can't play the game.
You can't play the game if you don't know the rules. What's the
Right.
first rule?
You gotta know the rules. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's just like when I'm doing classes and stuff, I'm teaching lead classes, lead courses, because we can certify.
went through it.
Yeah, okay, you got a 5-year certification. We do that. And one of my things is,
AAAConstructionschool.com.
I love it.
You can do continuing education. And
Yes, you
I
can
should
do
have shouted
anything.
you out at the beginning.
But let's take football. Most people like football.
I don't know why, but most people do.
Well, whatever. But the point is, the thousands of those cheering fans.
I'm going to get a lot of flack for saying that, but yeah, go ahead.
You will. You definitely will.
Wasting my time.
But the same thing with a baseball diamond. Okay, how long is a football field? People say 100 yards. Then you tell them about, well, what about the goalposts? And then they finally figure out maybe it's 120 feet long, 120 yards long. Then you ask them how wide. Okay, nobody knows. Nobody knows.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the point is, how can you play football if you don't know where the sidelines are?
How does that directly translate to running a contracting business?
Because if you don't know what the permitting rules are,
Well said.
You don't know what the foundation rules, how deep a footer has to be, Florida minimum. How are you going to succeed? If you don't know what a number 6 piece of rebar means versus a number 3 piece of rebar, are you going to be successful? What about the mortar joint?
Right.
If you don't have the appropriate 3/8 mortar joint between the blocks, you're going to lose.
I have a video called "Can You Be a GC with No Experience?" It's one of my. I don't know
It's
if
got
you've
to be
seen
a
it.
short video.
No, it's like 15. I don't know how. It's a longer video.
Yeah.
Maybe it's about 10. I don't know, minutes long. It's one of my favorite videos talking about expanding your knowledge as like a tree expands its rings, and you kind of compound that knowledge and you build upon prior knowledge. And some people have commented, I believe, saying, "I'll just hire people that know it all."
Right.
There is some truth in that.
But how do you know they really do know it all?
As the business owner, it is your direct responsibility to manage your people, to manage your business, which means understanding the details and build systems. It's systems and people. It's 50-50. Most of my time, year 7, I'm about to be year 7 in March, but of business ownership, but is now spent my time systems and people, dealing with people problems and building systems, saying, well, Jesse, go ahead and send this large attachment. Well, instead of me just sending it, just doing the work, I'm going to build a system with a GIF with all colorful images. And step 1, and it's a GIF. I recorded Giphy, Giphy. One of my last videos was how to massively scale your construction business, how to massively ultra systemize it was what it's called, which in turn you can scale it.
Right.
Based off those systems, I have an internal website, and everyone just goes to their, if it's project manager, superintendent, blah, 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 go see their roles and responsibilities, see how to actually do these things in our cloud-based project management software. There's like one example, lien waivers. I don't go around playing truck tag and can you sign this? Like even 11 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, people, I feel like, and some people still are stuck there, but driving around getting manual signatures versus digital. When I send a payment to a sub, say $100,000 subcontract, and I want to send $25,000, they don't get that money until they sign the digital lien waiver, which is attached to that, and it literally is a brick wall. It's a electronic wall that once they sign it, money's in their account to 1 to 3 days.
Right.
So
you've touched upon something that's critical. You've been able to change. You've been able to adapt the new world.
I love that it goes back to our whole initial concept. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if we don't do the things that you're talking about doing, we're not going to exist.
I see a weeding out process happening within the next 5 or less years.
Hey, that's so strange because I was predicting that same thing in a class last week.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Well, construction goes in cycles. The economy goes in cycles. You got to be able to read the cycles. You got to see that there's too much dirt being shoved around. The money is just not going to be there.
Right.
So
when you see cranes in the air,
count them. Always count cranes in the air. Always.
That's how many years you have left, or what do you mean? I don't know. What does that mean?
Well, if the cranes in the air are diminishing, you're about 5 years away from the whole thing diminishing.
Right.
Now, COVID put a damper, especially up north, on a lot of construction. A lot. We were fortunate here for whatever reason. But the point is, it's different here. So, but we're Southern contractors. We're in Florida. Still count those cranes. The last time I was in Orlando teaching, it's been about a week or so ago, looking at all those cranes, which, believe it or not, 7 or 8 years ago, they were not there. And it's shocking to see them all sprout up out of the ground.
I had major business problems in this year from March for about 6 months.
Right.
I had all these contracts and they just froze the capital. Nope, we're not signing. I had signed contracts. They're like, nope, we're not giving you even a deposit.
Right.
And I went into, that's why I sold my house. I sold my house because I sunk hundreds of thousands of dollars into it. And that's why I'm in this condo, which I love. I'm much more happy here. But I sold it, I liquidated it. I didn't make any money, but I sold it and I liquidated hundreds of thousands of dollars back out of the property. And those people love the house. It's a beautiful house. I still miss the hot tub. But then I put some of that cash into this condo, renovated, now I'm refinancing. Anyways, COVID definitely put a damper on my business. I was the number one fastest growing business that's business, not general contractor, in I think Northeast Florida or something like that, on the Inc. 5000 list. And I mean, right below JWB, right below Shacor, Haskell, all these bigger companies, based on percentage growth and over the last 3 years. That was last year, so that was 2019. I didn't do more than I did last year in my gross sales this year.
Yeah.
I will probably do quadruple to octuplian, sextuplian
Right.
of what I did this year, next year. Is
Good.
what I'm projecting.
Good.
For some reason, it's like held back, like this dam holding it back, and then I feel like it's about to just explode.
Yeah. It was just the same thing when we went through the Depression in 2008. Every economy we've ever been through always comes back much stronger than it was before the Depression, because all those people with all that money are anxious to spend.
Right.
And if you know how to judge it, when to get into the business, then you're going to do good.
Of course, we both don't know at this point in time, in about, 11 days or so, 7 days, a week, I don't know, the election. We have no idea who's going to be president.
True.
As of this recording. What are your thoughts on where you think?
We need to keep our economy strong. It's always about the money. You take the money out of the picture and we fail. If businesses aren't back and running, we're going to fail. Capitalism is, am I ever? Yes, yes, yes. And this 6 foot distance we have between us practicing all this good stuff, this shows our opinion of it. Yeah.
Corona hoax. I mean, anyways,
Yes.
we'll leave it at that.
True.
So what else can we cover on this first episode of the J Lane Experience with Rob Irion?
Well, we've covered a lot of material.
Very nice.
Yeah.
It's been very nice.
But never give up hope. Never, 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 never.
Talk to the camera. Talk to that guy who's listening, who's
Don't
down in...
ever give up hope.
Yeah.
I've been down to my last dollar. I started my whole construction business with $20. You can do it. You can do it. Okay? Everybody can do it. Everybody has it in them. And most important of all, do what you want to do. In the long run, if you're not happy doing whatever it is, it's not worth the money.
Never work for money.
No.
Work for experience and knowledge.
That's it.
I've mentored people that say, I'm going to go get a job at the country club just to make the money I need to make because, well, I'm kind of working on my larger goals. I said, what the heck are you doing? Go get a job, even if it's working for a minimum wage, for the ultimate big goal that you have in your life.
True.
Like for Charlie watching, I mean, he wants to be in real estate. I just met Charlie as like 5 minutes before this podcast because my videographer's wife got COVID and he didn't feel like it was responsible for him to come, film.
Right.
So rightly so. But you're here tonight. You know what I'm saying? And dude, come over here for a second, just real fast. Charlie's 17 and he's what school do you go to?
Stay in college prep.
Yeah. So amazing. So what do you want to do when you grow up, man?
Well, generally real estate, investing, business. Don't know how to define that yet, but I guess that's kind of what I'm here for. So
I love that.
yeah.
Good.
Anyone
Good,
that
good,
wants
good.
to know to get into a trade, go find someone that's in that trade already.
Absolutely.
I flip real estate. I'm in construction and I'm a business owner. I think Charlie and I are a great fit.
Yep.
And I like the kid so far, I mean, I feel like he's going, dude, I appreciate it. But I feel like I enjoy giving back to people. Charlie's the kind of person that watches my YouTube channel. I get people in Argentina and Florida and Georgia and just all across the world that reach out and say, I'm 17 and I want to be a business owner one day. What do I do? I start with get experience.
True.
That's all I say. I mean, I say more sometimes.
Right. Well, I was 12 years
So
old.
stop asking me. No, I'm just kidding.
I had a bank account at 12 years old.
Nice.
I worked at an IGA food store, and I also did a feed store. And you got to get out there and get that experience. It all comes back and helps you someday.
I just was brought back to, I was 14, my first job. I got $5.50, mind you,
Right.
an hour.
Great.
And I cleaned the trash cans and the sawdust below walking sticks and canes. He also made picture frames in this company in Texas. And I said, I want to make walking sticks. and it's actually on that. Some footage of me making some of those canes.
Wow.
By the time I was 16, I started making walking canes, and I became one of their top producers. It was a 1099 position, so I worked for this company. There's still an Academy Sports and like all the tourist traps around the United States. These canes,
Right.
and these little sticks and canes. And so I started making one of a kind canes. I had kind of a creative mindset towards me. So I was one of the only ones. I made ones that looked like checkerboards. I won Bodark and Bacote, and I would go and get these Purple Heart slabs of wood and mill. I bought my parents. They loaned me like $5,000. I bought the bandsaw, the table saw. I would find deals on Craigslist. Did everything I possibly could to get the equipment I needed to make the canes.
Yeah.
And then I timed it one time. I would just bust out these canes and I'd make 30, 40, $50 an hour.
Wow.
At 16 years old.
That's great.
Doing these canes, I make thousands of dollars a week because after homeschooling, I'm sorry, I'm talking about me so much, but after homeschooling, all I wanted to do was work and produce. I'd be out there till 3 a.m. just sanding these canes full of sawdust. I mean, just caked. I'd come in and take a shower. But I feel you on that first job experience, but it was aligned with my goal of,
Right. It's inspiration. It's a good, warm feeling inside.
Yeah.
It's the feeling of success. And we all need that.
We all need that.
We don't need to be couch potatoes. Get out there and get it.
Well, should we end it on that note?
Yes, sir.
Do you have anything else that you want to add?
No, just thank
Do you
you
want
very
to plug
much.
a little bit? Go ahead and
No,
60 seconds, dude. Say anything you want.
no. Our school speaks for itself.
I love that.
And we've been in business over 32 years. So that speaks highly of it also.
It does. And you haven't been doing it wrong for 32 years because some framers have said that to me. And the drywall guys said, if you've been doing it wrong for 15 years, you're still doing it wrong.
Right. And there's another thing, a big tidbit about yours. You've passed that pinnacle point of 5 years. That's the
5-year
death. If you
Now I
can't
got to
make
get
it.
to 10.
Yeah.
Now my goal is 100 million.
Great.
By the time I'm 2030.
Yeah.
I mean, by the year 2030. By the time I'm 30, I'd like to be at 10 million.
Yeah.
I'm 28 right now, about to be 29.
10 million's doable. It can be done.
Yeah. 2030 is a decade from now. Mm-hmm. Exactly a decade. So,
especially if the stock market keeps going. And the economy keeps booming.
Yes.
And people are spending money.
It depends who gets elected.
That's true.
Yes.
So we all need to vote intelligently.
We do. So go vote.
Yep. Please vote.
Yeah. I think we're good.
That's it.
Last question. If you were in my shoes, what would you do?
If I were in your shoes, what would I do?
Yeah.
I would read through that stack of books one more time, reevaluate, assess where you are, assess where you want to go. Mm. You've got to also, long-range goals are wonderful.
Right.
But if we don't develop short-range goals, we all need that pat on the back, all of us. I see it in the classroom. I compliment a student, wow, you got that right. Most people can't get that right. I'm lying through my teeth, but it helps them. It makes them feel good.
Right.
And that's what all of us do it. I need it. I need to know that I look pretty on that camera.
Right.
We all need that.
Didn't I tell you? I said, Rob, you look amazing.
Yes.
And then I showed you, I said, you're looking so good.
Yeah, but
because I wanted you to feel
pumped up
comfortable.
on that. Yeah.
And you do look good.
Well, thank you very much.
And I like telling people the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially when they look good.
That's why I say every class, man.
Yeah.
This is the smartest class I've ever taught. Yeah. That's
And
the
these
way
are the
it
best
is.
subscribers I've ever had. We'll see you in the next podcast. Adios.
Thank you.
All right. Nice.
That went very well.
That was very fun. That was good.